So I am so happy to introduce our keynote speaker this morning, who is Rabbi Ari Rosenberg. He grew up in Waterford, Connecticut, and has lived in Connecticut, California, Ohio, Maine, New Jersey, and Israel. He received a BA in English from Rutgers University, and he was ordained by Hebrew Union College in 2008. He served Temple Shalom in New Milford from 2015 to 2020, and is now Executive Director of the Association of Religious Communities, promoting interfaith cooperation to prevent poverty, homelessness, and domestic violence throughout the greater Danbury area. Among other things, ARC is running the only homeless shelter serving the greater Danbury area and placing over 50 clients a year into affordable housing units. Rabbi Ari also serves as Vice President of New Milford Refugee Resettlement. He is happily married to Erin Storrs Rosenberg, and they enjoy their blended family of 6 in New Milford, Connecticut. Thank you, Rabbi.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Rabbi Ari Rosenberg, Executive Director of the Association of Religious Communities, or ARC as we call ourselves. We have been on the front lines preventing poverty, homelessness, food insecurity, and domestic violence for 50 years. We are also the stewards of the region's last standing homeless shelter, serving the greater Danbury area's homeless population of approximately 100 people. Before the pandemic, the region had 5 small, mostly volunteer-run shelters with a total of 100 beds for 100 people. These all shut down at the beginning of the pandemic, due in part to the need for social distancing and also in part for political reasons. During the pandemic, Lamont's emergency order permitted 1 shelter at a Super 8 hotel, which was large enough to provide 100 beds, again for 100 people. The zoning commission shut that down, mostly because the neighbors didn't want that in their backyard. There was no complaints about the liquor store, the vape shop, the sex shop, but God forbid we provide shelter to our most vulnerable neighbors. Following the pandemic, we were left with the crisis of 0 beds for 100 homeless residents of the greater Danbury area. As Vice Chair of the Mayor's Task Force on Homelessness, I asked every organization who would be willing to open a shelter. After rejection, after rejection, after rejection, I pleaded with ARC's board for permission to open a shelter. ARC's area of expertise previously had always been placing homeless residents into affordable housing units and providing the case management to ensure that clients can balance their budgets, attain gainful employment, and secure all the benefits they're entitled to, but we had never managed a shelter before. The board graciously permitted me to open what we now call the Danbury Support Center, or the DSC, and in short time we became not only the only homeless shelter serving the greater Danbury area 24/365, but one of the most cost-efficient and successful shelters in the state of Connecticut. One of the biggest challenges that we face at the DSC is the fact that the zoning commission will only permit us 20 beds at each site. Before the end of the first year, we opened a second site. We now have 40 beds for 100 people. It's still a 60% reduction from what the area used to have. How do we know there's 100 people? Well, first of all, we're always at capacity. Every single one of those 40 beds is full every single night. There's about 45 people on the wait list. It takes over a month to get into the shelter sometimes. And this is in the middle of the summertime. In the winter time, that shelter wait list is going to go up and it's going to take even longer to get in. Because we have so few beds, our task is to house clients as swiftly as possible, and I don't think there's another shelter in the state housing people as fast as we are. The moment clients arrive, our staff are gathering all their documentation. If they're eligible for a state subsidy, we advocate for that. Some just need a little time to save enough money for a security deposit and a first month's rent. 102 people stayed at our shelters last year for at least one night, and I'm proud to say the ARC's team of superheroes placed 29 of them into affordable housing units throughout the area. Why do we do this? We're the Association of Religious Communities. Religion means something. There are 36 biblical commandments to welcome the stranger. Leviticus 19 teaches that the stranger who resides with you shall be to you as one of your citizens. You shall love your neighbor as yourself, for you too were strangers in the land of Egypt. The Prophet Muhammad taught the value of aman, granting refuge and protection to those fleeing persecution and danger. The Buddhist concept of metta enshrines the value of loving kindness as expressed in helping all those in need regardless of their race, their nationality, or their legal status. In Christianity, Matthew 25 teaches, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in." We could not call ourselves a civilized society if we did not provide for the basic needs of our most vulnerable residents. But you would not believe the challenges that we are up against. One, financing. We do this on a wing and a prayer that if we just put ourselves out there, the revenue will show up to support this endeavor. Most of our support comes from the Connecticut Department of Housing, but half of Connecticut's shelter money actually comes from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is facing severe DOGE cuts right now. Two, support. Though the city of Danbury has been very generous with us, most of the surrounding towns have not contributed their fair share. You might be thinking, but we don't have any homeless people here in Bethel. You might not realize that the reason you don't see many homeless people around here is because they get sent to the Region's shelter in Danbury, down the road. We had 10 Bethel clients last year, and we received zero support from Bethel for providing these services. Three, vouchers. During the pandemic, there were loads of subsidies for clients who'd be unable to support themselves, not on their own, due to mental health issues or physical disabilities. Not only has the current federal administration cut the vouchers available to our neediest clients, they have stated their intention to pull 40% of the existing vouchers out there that are currently being used to pay local landlords, some of them here in Bethel. In other words, formerly homeless people we placed into affordable housing years ago will no longer be able to make rent, they'll be evicted, and they'll be put back on the shelter wait list again. Four, Donald Trump. Trump issued an executive order 2 weeks ago essentially criminalizing homelessness, calling for rounding homeless people up and sending them to jails and institutions. Not only is that morally unethical, not only is it 10 times more costly, but how is that going to solve the problem? There's really only one way to end homelessness, which brings me to number 5, housing. If we had enough affordable housing units in the greater Danbury area and the support to place clients there, we could end homelessness this year. Only about 5% of the housing stock in Bethel is affordable housing. It's even worse where I live in New Milford. It's about 4% in New Milford. Danbury is about 11% affordable housing stock, but about 50% of the population in Danbury is paying about 80% of their income on rent and utilities. Donald Trump believes that the majority of homeless people have addictions to opioids or the kind of mental health issues that require institutionalization. The fact of the matter is that only about 20% have addiction issues and about 30% have mental health issues. Trump has it backwards. The majority of our clients are just down and out on their luck and in need of a little help to get back on track. You would not believe how many of our clients drive their cars to work every single day. At the end of the day, there are two kinds of people in this world: those who want to help others and those who only care about themselves. Those who want to help others are grounded in generations of morals, values, and ethics. This moment in time is a blip in the history of humanity, but the choices we make will have eternal consequences. Follow your heart. Love your neighbor as yourself. Support the homeless community. Thank you. And now I would like to invite a friend of mine, Gio. Gio came to us originally as a client, and he has become one of the greatest friends that the Association of Religious Communities can have. He's been volunteering at our food pantry. He shows up at the offices all the time saying, "What can I do? I just want to give back to the community that supported me." He's become a dear personal friend of mine, and I invited him here today to share part of his story.
Oh, have mercy. Is it still morning? Good morning. Good afternoon, around there. So technically, my homelessness really started in 2020, and it took up until 8/16/2024 that I was able to finally get somewhere. So homelessness is a complex issue that affects people from all walks of life. It's often misunderstood, and people experience it are frequently stereotyped. The reality is the individuals and families experiencing homelessness are not defined by their situations. They are people with their own unique stories, hopes, and struggles, just like anyone else. Many factors contribute to homelessness, and it's rarely a simple choice. Common causes such as economic struggles, health struggles, trauma, personal crisis. Instead of viewing people experiencing homelessness as a problem to be solved, we should see them as people who deserve dignity and support. A simple act of kindness, like a smile or a conversation, can make a significant change. Educating ourselves on the root causes and supporting localization and organizations that provide aid are powerful ways to help. By showing empathy and recognizing that humanity in everyone, we can work together to create a more compassionate and inclusive community. There's a silent routine to life without a home. The morning sun isn't warm, welcoming. It's the light that forces you to wake up through the shine of a car window. You shift, you try to stretch, your limbs are stiff, you cramp up in a small space, no shower, no water, just a bottle of water throw on your face and try to rinse out the crust in your mouth. Sorry. Loneliness is a particular thing when you're surrounded by people. You see them rushing to work and laughing with friends, going on with their lives, and you feel invisible. You are in a crowd, yet completely alone. The world moves on, and you're stuck in a bubble, watching from an outside. The solitude isn't peaceful, it's heavy and isolating. Every day is a battle against the cold reality of your situation. The lack of a job isn't just an empty resume line, it feels like a personal failure, a mark of your worthlessness. It's a constant loop of not having a job because you don't have an address, and don't have an address because you don't have a job. The simple things like a place to sleep or a hot meal become monumental challenges. You are not just without a home, you are without a purpose, a place in the world, and that's the heaviest burden of all. Life changed once I was given the chance through a program given by the state. It was ARC and Demas that were able to help me to get a voucher to finally get a home. My mom, she was a single mom, working 3 jobs to make ends meet at one point in my life. We lived in the projects. We went from the projects to a hotel, to hotels, to shelters in the Bronx, and those days were hard. To now that she finally owns her own home, and it wasn't the first time, just the second time, because the way God works is that what He gives you, He will take away. And so, unfortunately, our first home we lost and ended up back in a terrible situation. But again, here we are, 2020 started my homelessness, 2025, I have my own home. My mom bought her own home. And if it wasn't for the help given through the state, my family would have never been given that second chance, and I probably wouldn't be here. And to cut the funding that you've already cut is a disgrace. Like, not you guys, but Trump. You know what I mean? But thank you all.
It takes a lot of courage to get up here when you don't have a lot of speaking experience. Show a little love for Gionnani Gonzalez.